One of the worst things that any company out there could ever do is insult the intelligence of their consumer. We're the ones who buy the product. We're the ones that support your product. And we're the ones that can actually boycott it. Now, Marathon, I talked about it not too long ago. And I have pretty low expectations for it. We don't need another live service shooter. Why is Sony going this route? Did they not learn from Firewalk Studios with Concord, a game that they spent millions of dollars on, and when it finally launched, it was gone within 2 weeks, no longer supported? They must have needed a pretty big cash write-off if they're okay with that, and then they're having Bungie, who's a shell of its former self, make a shooting game called Marathon. So we talked about this. I think it looks uninspired. I think it looks boring. And the crazy thing about it is these developers at Bungie have no idea how to make games anymore. They were actually caught red-handed. Yeah, they did a Twitch stream where they talked about a lot of things, including admitting that they essentially stole art from a artist by the name of N2. So we're going to talk about that. This is ridiculous. I cannot believe that this whole situation is going down with Bungie. Okay? They're not some kind of little small studio. This is a company that's made games like Destiny. They were caught red-handed. They really are. And this is not some little oopsie, all right? We're talking a full-on plagiarism scandal here with receipts from their upcoming game, Marathon. And it's so bad, it makes you wonder if anyone at Bungie actually owns an original thought anymore. Or if they're just doing a little too much borrowing from the internet these days. So, billion-dollar companies, guys, literally stealing from indie artists like it's just another Tuesday. How does that happen? I think Bungie, with this situation, managed to nuke the last scraps of good faith they had, and there wasn't much left. So here's what happened. Again, as I mentioned, Bungie, the proud member of Sony's new $3.6 billion shopping spree, apparently slipped a bunch of stolen graphic design elements into Marathon's alpha build. And it's not just inspired by artwork. No, this is like full-on, blatant, direct, copy-paste. The receipts are everywhere. And the designs were lifted from an artist who goes by N2, who's also known as Anti-Real. These posters are artwork from 2017, and they were used without permission, without credit, and yep, without a single dime of compensation. $1 billion company doing this in 2025. And these just weren't buried in the background of the game either. They were literally plastered all over the environment, the textures, decals, literally visible enough that alpha players spotted them almost immediately. And now Bungie's gone on this full damage control. Like I mentioned, this stream that they did on Twitch was not a good idea. They could not hide, and they basically had to admit that they were caught red-handed. Their response was basically that it was the work of a former employee that didn't work there anymore, and they didn't know, and that they're sorry, and they're reviewing their processes so this doesn't happen again. No, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. This sounds familiar because this isn't the first time that this happened. In fact, I'm going to check my notes. Checking notes. This is like incident number 4 or 5, depending on how generous you're feeling. Destiny had concept theft. Red War had story similarities. There was a fan custom Ace of Spades Nerf gun design that was copied for Pixel, basically. And Bungie's basically running a greatest hits album of creative theft at this point. And here's the kicker. They won't name the person that was responsible for this theft. They know who it is, but they won't say. They handled it, they said. And they're just going to keep that little detail to themselves. Kind of weird. Look, if you're going to use the scapegoat of, somebody doesn't work here anymore and it was an accident, then, you at least could tell us who they are if you're using it as a way to save your $1 billion company by throwing them under the bus. Otherwise, it just looks like, you're hoping that we all move on and forget about it, which that's not a good look in my opinion. Meanwhile, the artist who was ripped off, N2, posted publicly that they don't even have the energy to fight Bungie legally about this. They're used to it. And the saddest part about it is imagine being so frequently stolen from by big companies that you're numb to it. That's a big ay caramba there, guys. That's just another day on the internet, apparently, to end to. So the gamers' reaction to this, the community, the gamers aren't having it, guys. If you go on social media, from Reddit to X to Blue Sky, which I like to call Pedo Sky, people are calling Bungie out. I've even seen, Hypnotic Smash, Words of Paradise, a few other people make videos about this topic. And why wouldn't they, guys? These are the same people that recognize the artwork in game because, it was that obviously stolen. It's not like it was hidden in the code. This was out in the open, copy paste, blurry name still visible, same shape, same colors. They didn't even try to mask it, so of course they need to be called out. One user even pointed out that the art director by the name of Joseph Cross had been following N2 on social media for years, yet there was no communication, credit, nothing at all. So let me get this straight. This guy knew the artist, was watching their work, and literally just lifted it and magically had all the artwork appear in the game. That's a weird coincidence, is it not? And this isn't a slip up, as I mentioned. It's a pattern. A studio this big with this many resources doesn't just accidentally steal over and over and over again. It's become part of their pipeline. And find cool art online, change a brush stroke or two, hope people don't realize it, insert into a game, and profit. And what's worse is that Bungie themselves admitted it happened publicly on this live stream, essentially saying, yeah, we used it without permission, like it makes it okay. Now again, there's no lawsuit yet, but let's be real, this literally is lawsuit bait on a silver platter. If N2 wanted to do a lawsuit, they got it. They got a win right here. And the trust with the gamers is gone at this point, guys. This was supposed to be Bungie's next big thing, and even I saw, based on the teaser trailer, it was dead on arrival. I'm not even trying to say, oh, it's woke, this and that. I'm just saying it looks uninspired. Instead of being an exciting comeback game for Bungie, it looks like a $200 million graveyard of bad PR, broken promises. And who needed this? Between this game and the disaster that was Concord, Sony's got to be wondering if buying Bungie was a mistake by now. First, Concord flopped. It was like 2 weeks in after the launch, and then they shut down Firewalk Studios. Now Marathon's a walking PR nightmare, as I said, before it even hits the shelves, if it even hits the shelves. And it's not like Marathon was looking great to begin with. It's a soulless extraction shooter that asks players to fork over their money into a game, that genre that's like dominated by free-to-play juggernauts. You're expecting people to pay $40 for Marathon when they could go and get better free-to-play games of the same genre, like Fortnite, Warzone, Apex Legends, you name it. That's a tall order on a good day. Add in a plagiarism scandal on top of that, you just nailed the coffin shut. So what Bungie needs right now isn't another "we're reviewing our processes" tweet. They gotta pay the artist. They gotta publicly name who did this. They gotta do a complete overhaul of their whole laziness, their culture of creative laziness that they got. Because at this point, I think the fans and gamers all over are done giving Bungie a pass. No more second chances, right? Bungie's burned through its goodwill, and now there's no more chances. This is it. If Marathon flops, I think this is it for them. Anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts on this. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section. And subscribe. It's free to subscribe. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. I make videos every day, trending topics, commentary, live stream. I'm busting my butt for you guys. I appreciate if you guys join it. Let's get 100,000 subscribers, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much, guys, as always. Take care.